A planet that eats time. The story we discovered Kronos 9 in 2197, a planet that shouldn't exist. Probes sent to its surface never returned, not destroyed, but vanished, as if they'd never been launched. Signals from orbit became garbled, time-stamped from years in the past or decades in the future. The scientists who studied it called it an anomaly. I called it what it really was. A planet that eats time. A planet unlike any other orbits a dying red dwarf star. Its surface shimmers with impossible colors, shifting between past and future states. A sound like reality unwinding echoes, clocks ticking backward and forward simultaneously. The research vessel, Temporal, holds orbit around Kronos 9, a ship designed to study extreme spacetime phenomena. Dr. Chen, a chronophysicist who pioneered the study of temporal anomalies, examines sensor data showing impossible readings. She lost 10 years of her life in a laboratory accident involving a micro-black hole. One moment she was 31, the next she was 41, with a decade erased from existence. Everyone she knew had aged. Her relationships had ended. Her parents had died while she was gone. She spent 17 years since trying to understand what happened to her, searching for a way to reclaim lost time. Objects on the planet's surface exist in multiple temporal states simultaneously. Run the chronometric scan again. Account for relativistic time dilation and quantum temporal uncertainty. Scan complete. Dr. Chen, the results are consistent. The planet's surface exhibits temporal flux variance of 847%. Objects are experiencing time at rates ranging from 0.01% to 8.47 times normal passage. And the variance is increasing. Increasing? How fast? The temporal flux has intensified by 23% in the last 3 hours. At current rates, the planet will achieve critical temporal instability in approximately 127 hours. Einstein's general relativity tells us that gravity affects time. The stronger the gravitational field, the slower time flows. On Earth, time passes slightly faster on a mountaintop than in a valley. Near a black hole, time nearly stops. But Kronos 9 isn't near a black hole. It's a terrestrial planet orbiting a normal star. Yet its surface experiences gravitational time dilation comparable to the event horizon of a supermassive black hole. That should be impossible. Commander Marcus Webb enters the bridge. A veteran space explorer who's led 23 planetary expeditions, he's pragmatic, fearless, and haunted by the crew he lost on Kepler 442b when their ship's life support failed. He volunteered for the Kronos 9 mission because he's tired of safe assignments. He'd rather die exploring the unknown than grow old filing reports. He's also been in love with Sarah for 6 years but has never told her, knowing she's too focused on her research to notice him. Sarah, the landing team is ready. We need to go now before the temporal flux gets worse. In the landing bay, Marcus checks equipment designed to shield against temporal distortions. The temporal shielding can protect us for maybe 12 hours on the surface. After that, we're at the planet's mercy. We go in, collect samples, get out. Simple. Nothing about this planet is simple. But you're right, we won't get another chance. If the flux continues increasing, Kronos 9 might become completely inaccessible. Dr. Yuki Tanaka's voice comes over calm. Or it might collapse entirely. I've been modeling the temporal flux patterns, and they match the signatures of a temporal singularity formation. A quantum physicist specializing in closed time-like curves, paths through spacetime that loop back on themselves. Yuki is non-binary, brilliant, and suffers from a degenerative neurological condition that will kill them within 5 years. They joined the mission knowing they might not survive to see the results published, but believing that understanding temporal mechanics could lead to technologies that might save others like them. They're reckless with their own safety but deeply protective of their crewmates. In the quantum lab, Yuki works surrounded by simulations of collapsing temporal geometries. A temporal singularity would be a point in spacetime where time itself breaks down. No past, no future, just an eternal now. If Chronos 9 is forming one, everything within its influence will be trapped in a time loop. Or worse, erased from the timeline entirely. Then we need to understand what's causing this before it's too late. Marcus, prep the shuttle. Yuki, you're with us. The shuttle descends toward Chronos 9's surface, instruments going haywire as they enter the planet's temporal field. Clocks tick at irregular intervals, time stretching and compressing. Temporal shielding holding, but barely. I'm reading localized time dilation fields across the surface. Some areas are experiencing time at 1/100th normal speed. Others at 800% speed. And they're shifting. What's slow now might be fast in 30 seconds. Can you navigate us to a stable zone? Define stable. The best I can do is find an area that's only fluctuating by 20% instead of 800%. The landing site is a crystalline plain where structures rise and fall in accelerated time, mountains eroding in seconds, rivers changing course in minutes. What are those structures? They look artificial. Ancient ruins appear, but not static. They're cycling through time, appearing as newly built, then ancient, then newly built again. I'm detecting technological signatures. And they're quantum locked to the temporal flux. These structures they're temporal stabilizers. Or they were. Now they're failing. You're saying someone built these? Who? Look at the architectural style. The mathematical ratios. This is human construction, or at least humanoid. Closer examination reveals writing in multiple Earth languages, some ancient, some modern, some from the future. The inscriptions, they're dated. This one says 2047. That one says 2389. This one says 4721. All of them signed by the Chronos Project. The Chronos Project doesn't exist. I've studied every temporal research initiative in history. There's no record of anything called that. Maybe not in our timeline, but look at this. A monument bears names, including Sarah Chen, Marcus Webb, and Yuki Tanaka. We built this. Or we will build it. Or we already did in a timeline that hasn't happened yet. The planet isn't eating time, it's collecting it. Every possible timeline, every branching reality, they all converge here. The many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics says that every decision creates branching universes. Choose left instead of right, and reality splits. In one branch you went left, in another you went right. Most physicists believe these branches never reconnect. But what if there were places in the universe where all branches converge? Where every possible timeline collapses back into a single point. Chronos 9 is a convergence node. Every version of reality where we discover this planet, where we build these structures, where we try to understand time itself, they all lead here. That's why the temporal flux is so extreme. The planet isn't experiencing one timeline, it's experiencing all of them simultaneously. So these ruins are from our future? From things we're going to build? Or from futures we might build? Or might have built if we'd made different choices? The point is, somewhere in the multiverse, we came here and tried to stabilize the temporal convergence. And we failed. Look. One of the stabilizers cracks, temporal energy spilling out like liquid light. The stabilizers are breaking down. And when they fail completely, every timeline that converges here will collapse into a single moment. Everything that ever happened or could happen on Chronos 9 will occur simultaneously. It'll be a temporal singularity, and anyone caught in it will experience every possible version of their existence at once. In the blocked universe model, time doesn't flow. All moments exist simultaneously. Past, present, and future are equally real, just located at different points in the spacetime block. We perceive time flowing because our consciousness moves through the block, experiencing one moment after another. But what if something could make us aware of the entire block at once? What if we could remember the future as clearly as we remember the past? Sarah touches one of the failing stabilizers and suddenly freezes, eyes wide. Reality fragments. Memories flood in from timelines that haven't happened. Sarah, what's happening? The stabilizer, it's leaking temporal radiation. She's being exposed to causality-violating information. She's experiencing memories from other timelines. Flashes of Sarah's alternate lives appear. Versions where she never had the accident, where she became a musician instead of a scientist, where she died young, where she grew old with Marcus. Sarah gasps. I can see it. All of it. Every choice I never made. Every life I didn't live. In one timeline, I prevented the accident. In another, I didn't survive it. In another, I married you, Marcus. We had children. We grew old together. And in another, I came here alone and died trying to stabilize the convergence. Sarah, you need to disconnect from the stabilizer. The exposure will kill you. No, I need to see more. I need to understand what we did wrong. Why the stabilizers failed. Sarah's memories intensify, showing the construction of the Chronos project across multiple timelines. We didn't come here to study the convergence. We came here to create it. In every timeline, we discover that time is malleable, that reality branches, that consciousness can span multiple timelines. And in every timeline, we make the same choice. We try to save everyone. Save everyone? From what? From the end. In 4721, the universe reaches maximum entropy. Heat death. Everything cold, dark, dead. But if we can create a temporal convergence point, a place where all timelines collapse into one, we can use the concentrated temporal energy to reset the universe. To send information backward through time to prevent the heat death. We're trying to save reality itself. But the stabilizers are failing. We're going to cause a temporal singularity, not save anything. Because we keep making the same mistake. Look at the pattern. In every timeline, we build the stabilizers, we activate the convergence, and then we try to control it. But you can't control a temporal singularity, you can only guide it. And we never figure that out because we never have the full information. Until now. You've seen all the timelines. You know what doesn't work. And I know what might work, but it requires a sacrifice. Stephen Hawking proved that black holes aren't truly black, they emit radiation and slowly evaporate. The smaller the black hole, the faster it evaporates. A temporal singularity would work the same way. If we let it collapse completely, it would emit a burst of chronometric radiation, temporal energy carrying information about every timeline that converged. That burst would propagate backward through time, reaching the past before the universe ends. You're talking about creating a closed time-like curve, using the singularity's collapse to send information to our own past. Not just information. Consciousness. If someone is at the convergence point when the singularity collapses, their consciousness, their memories, their knowledge, will be embedded in the chronometric radiation. They'll exist in every point in time simultaneously. They'll be able to influence the past. What happens to the person? They stop existing in any single timeline. They become the singularity. Eternal but alone, aware but unable to act directly. A ghost in the timeline. You're describing suicide, temporal dissolution. I'm describing a chance to save everything. And I've already made the choice. In every other timeline, I chose to live. And every time, the stabilizers failed, the convergence killed billions, and we got no closer to saving the universe. This time, I choose differently. Quantum immortality is a thought experiment. In the many worlds interpretation, there's always a branch where you survive. From your perspective, you never die. You just keep finding yourself in the timelines where you live. But what if you invert that? What if you could choose to exist in the timelines where you died, embedding your consciousness in the moment of death, using it as an anchor point to influence reality? The temporal stabilizers collapse, the convergence accelerating. Sarah, we can still evacuate. We don't have to do this. Yes, we do. In 847 days, the convergence will destabilize completely whether we're here or not. But if I'm here, at the exact moment of collapse, I can guide it. I can make sure the chronometric burst reaches the right points in history. How? You'll be dissolved into temporal radiation. You won't have a body, a brain, any way to think or act. I'll have memory. Every moment I've ever experienced, across every timeline. That's what consciousness is, accumulated information. And information can influence reality. Wait. Sarah, think about what you're saying. You're going to send your consciousness backward through time using the singularity. Where will it go? To the points where it can have the most impact. Moments where small changes cascade into large effects. The butterfly effect across timelines. And one of those moments would be, Sarah realizes. My accident. The micro black hole that erased 10 years of my life. That wasn't an accident. That was me, from the future, creating a temporal anchor point. I sent myself back to make sure I'd become the person who could do this. You created your own trauma? Your own lost decade, not trauma? Preparation. Every choice I've made since the accident led me here. Every year I spent studying temporal mechanics, every relationship I couldn't maintain because I was too focused on my work, every moment of grief over the time I lost, it was all necessary. I was being shaped by my future self to become the person who could complete the loop. A bootstrap paradox occurs when an object or information exists without origin. Where did it come from? It came from the future. But the future got it from the past. There's no beginning, the loop just is. Sarah's accident created her drive to study time. That drive brought her to Chronos 9. Chronos 9 created the singularity. The singularity sent consciousness back to cause the accident. The loop is self-creating. If you do this, you'll be trapped in that loop forever. Never able to rest, never able to change course. Is saving the universe worth that? I lost 10 years once. I've spent 17 years trying to understand why. Now I know. Those 10 years didn't disappear, they were invested. In this moment. In this choice. I'm not losing anything. I'm finally understanding what I gained. The convergence reaches critical mass, reality itself beginning to fracture. It's starting. The timeline convergence is accelerating. We have maybe 3 minutes before complete collapse. Sarah, please, there has to be another way. There are infinite other ways. I've seen them all. And they all lead to the same ending: heat, death, entropy, extinction. This is the only path where we survive. Where everyone survives. Will you remember? When you're scattered across time, will you remember us? I'll remember everything. Every conversation we never had. Every life we might have lived together. Every choice I made and didn't make. That's what makes this bearable. knowing that even though I'm ending, nothing I've experienced will truly be lost. It'll all be there, in the chronometric radiation, influencing the timeline. Every moment we shared will become part of the universe's foundation. Sarah walks toward the collapsing convergence point, temporal energy swirling around her. Yuki, Marcus, get back to the shuttle. When the singularity collapses, there'll be a shockwave. You need to be shielded. Sarah, thank you. Both of you. For being here. For trying to stop me. And for letting me choose. Marcus and Yuki retreat to the shuttle, watching as Sarah reaches the convergence center. The holographic principle says that everything in three-dimensional space can be encoded on a two-dimensional surface. All the information about my life, my consciousness, my choices, it doesn't need a brain to persist. It just needs to be encoded somewhere. And a temporal singularity is the perfect archive. Every moment I've experienced, crystallized in the structure of spacetime itself, accessible to anyone who knows how to read it. The singularity collapses, Sarah's form dissolving into pure temporal radiation. Reality itself unwinds, reforms, every moment occurring simultaneously. I can see it all now. Every timeline converging. Every possibility collapsing into one. And I'm part of it. Not erased, distributed. I am the memory the universe keeps of every path it could have taken. The chronometric burst erupts outward, flowing backward and forward through time simultaneously. 6 months later, Marcus and Yuki work back on the temporal, analyzing data from the convergence. The singularity collapsed exactly as Sarah predicted. The chronometric burst carried information backward through time. We've detected its influence in 17 pivotal moments in history. Small anomalies that prevented catastrophes, guided discoveries, nudged humanity toward survival. She's there, embedded in the timeline, invisible but present. Data shows subtle influences across history. A scientist having an unexpected insight, a disaster narrowly averted, a crucial decision made. I've been analyzing the pattern of influences. They're not random. She's guiding us toward specific outcomes. Preventing the heat death requires changes made over millennia, technological developments, social evolution, even biological adaptation. She's creating the conditions for humanity to survive long enough to find a solution. Will it work? Can we prevent the heat death? We don't know yet. We won't know for thousands of years. But that's the point, isn't it? She gave us time. Time to figure it out, time to grow, time to change. The planet wasn't eating time, it was collecting it, preserving it, making sure nothing was ever truly lost. The ruins on Kronos 9 now appear stable, no longer cycling through temporal states. The stabilizers stop failing. The temporal flux has normalized. It's like the singularity solved the very problem it created. Or Sarah did. She's the stabilizer now. Her consciousness, distributed through time, maintaining the balance. She's not gone. She's everywhere. In every moment that she touches, she's present. Marcus sits alone in his quarters, looking at a photo of Sarah. I never told her that I loved her. That I'd been in love with her for years. I thought we had time. A subtle temporal anomaly shifts the photo slightly, showing a moment Marcus doesn't remember, where Sarah is looking at him with clear affection. Marcus, come to the lab. You need to see this. In the quantum lab, data shows a message encoded in the chronometric burst. It's from Sarah. She embedded it in the radiation pattern, hidden in quantum superposition until now. It says, I know. I saw the timeline where you told me, we were happy. Hold on to that. It's real, even if it's not in this timeline. And tell Yuki to take care of themselves. They have 4 years, not 5. Use them well. Love, always, Sarah. Marcus's eyes fill with tears. She saw all the timelines, even the ones where we were together. And she chose to sacrifice all of them to save this one. Not because it was better, but because it was the one where she could make a difference. Kronos 9 appears from orbit, peaceful now, its surface showing scenes from every era, ancient and modern, past and future, all preserved. We named it wrong. It's not Kronos 9. It's not a planet that eats time. It's a planet that saves it. Every moment, every choice, every possibility, they're all there, preserved in the temporal fabric. Sarah isn't dead. She's become something else. The universe's memory. The timeline's guardian. The loop that prevents the end. Throughout the cosmos, subtle temporal influences ripple. A star that should have gone supernova stabilizing, a collision course averted, a quantum fluctuation guiding evolution toward consciousness. I have 4 years left. Sarah saw the timeline where I lived longer, but she also saw the one where I spend my remaining time making every moment count. Knowing she's out there, embedded in the universe's structure, watching over us, it makes the time I have more precious, not less. The temporal departs Kronos 9, but not before leaving a monument, a memorial to Sarah Chen, with an inscription. She gave her time so the universe could have more. Every moment you live is part of her gift. Don't waste it. Across the timeline, moments influenced by Sarah's consciousness unfold, people making better choices, disasters averted, knowledge preserved. They say time is money. That time is precious. That time is the one thing you can never get back. But Sarah proved them wrong. Time can be saved. It can be preserved. It can be given as a gift. And when you give your time to save others, you don't lose it. You multiply it. You become part of everyone's timeline, forever. The chronometric burst still flows through space-time, carrying Sarah's consciousness, her memories, her love, backward and forward through every moment that ever was or will be. I'm still here. In every second that passes. In every choice you make. In every moment you choose to keep going instead of giving up. I'm not haunting you. I'm holding you. All of you. Everyone who will ever exist. Time doesn't end. It just changes form. And I'm the form it takes when it decides to save itself. A heartbeat sounds, steady and eternal, the rhythm of time itself. A single point of light appears, the chronometric burst, still traveling, still spreading Sarah's influence across infinity. Time is not a river that flows in one direction. It's an ocean. And some people become the currents that guide us all home. *The end.